Okay. Hello, hello, beautifuls. Okay, so I just wanted to pop in this Sunday to do something a little bit different. And I was thinking that, like, as in last week's Sunday surprise edition, I wrote that we're in a 1 year numerology, which means that we just completed a 9 year cycle, which is really all about like completion, reflection, and release. And I want to thank all of you who replied to that email or told me in session how much you resonated with recognizing the 9 year cycle that you're in. So often the completion of a 9 year cycle can be a bit bumpy, even challenging, because it brings up what needs or is ready to be cleared, healed, understood, freed to pave the way for the fresh start of the 1 year, which we're in now in 2026. So, as a life coach, I am not immune to the human experience. In fact, because I'm so committed to growth and evolution and expansion and learning and becoming and being the most satisfied version of myself, I'm always recognizing and releasing old patterns to free me for the next evolution of myself. So I wanted to share with you one of those evolutions, one of those breakthroughs, a spiritual growth spurt, I call it, um, because I grow and so then I teach, right? Because that's what I do. That's what I'm committed to. That is my work here in the world. And after 15 going into 16 years of coaching, I know that if I've gone through it, so are other women. And that when I feel compelled to share something, it's because someone or maybe many someones in my community needs to hear the message, will be supported, uplifted, encouraged, or in some way will experience their own breakthrough as a result of me sharing my own breakthrough. Okay, so this is a breakthrough that I actually had many years ago, but it feels like it's a breakthrough that really serves the shift that we're experiencing right now and that many of you will resonate with and benefit from. And what brought it back to mind was that it happened around Christmas time in a 9 year. So I actually went in search of my old journals to find the entry. Okay, so it's a bit raw and it's unedited, but you can all handle truth and honesty. In fact, we both prefer it, right? So I'm going to read to you from that journal. So here it is. This came as a flash of insight that I want to hold on to and not forget because this is truth, because it's also foreign to me. I have gotten through life by being critical, harsh, hard on myself, by denying myself love, care, acceptance, appreciation, rest, even. I have driven myself hard to be perfect. I have sacrificed myself at every turn to be who others needed me to be, to appear happy when my heart was breaking, to be brave when behind closed doors I was paralyzed by fear, insecurity, worry, and shame. I have beat myself up mercilessly for never being good enough, for not having achieved enough, for losing what little worth I had. When I was young, I looked like I had so much potential, but I never used any of it for myself. I gave it all away. I made other people's lives better. I made other people look good, always at my own expense. I never gave to myself. I never valued myself. I never loved or appreciated myself. I kept up appearances as if I did, but it was hollow. I was hollow, a shell. My own love and acceptance has been void in my life. While I kept up appearances and pushed myself harder and further, criticized myself for not being enough, not being good enough, capable enough, worthy enough, competent enough, lovable enough, I withered. Who wouldn't with that kind of harshness? That is not the environment, the conditions that would allow or promote thriving. How could it? A beautiful, abundant, thriving, satisfying life cannot be created by deprivation. And yet, that is exactly what I tried to do. deprive myself of love, kindness, compassion, understanding, my own appreciation, recognition, validation, patience, consideration, generosity. I was never my own friend, champion, or supporter. I was always my own merciless critic, punisher, denier, relentless driver, shamer, and belittler. Never my own friend, always my own enemy. I believe that being merciless with myself, cruel, critical, harsh, unrelenting, pushing and driving myself harder, allowing myself no breaks and no compassion would make me better. I believed patience, self love, appreciation, acknowledgement, validation, kindness, compassion, understanding would weaken me. That I would become complacent, not push myself, not drive myself, and not amount to anything. I was wrong. This led me to burnout, illness, injury, anxiety, aloneness, deep sadness, and heartbreak. This punishment broke me down instead of building me up like I believed it would. It broke me again and again. Injury upon injury, illness upon illness, struggle upon struggle. Yet I got back up again and again, pushing and punishing myself even more to be better, to try harder, to finally get it right, until I had nothing left, no will to live anymore. I didn't see the point of a life that was so difficult, so relentless, so merciless, a life I couldn't get right no matter how hard I tried, no matter how much I denied myself, sacrificed, deprived myself, or punished myself harder. I had failed. I had failed at life, not just some of it, all of it. I am a divorced single parent in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, not making ends meet, and rock bottom hit when I had to rob Peter to pay Paul to buy Christmas presents and groceries. Then ended up so sick on Christmas Day that after the kids opened presents, I slept the next 4 days in a fever of 104. Something had to change, and that something I knew was me. I couldn't sustain this level of pushing myself this hard anymore. There weren't any more hours in the day to work harder or longer. I didn't have the energy to keep pulling myself up off the ground to grind through another day. I surrendered. I waved the white flag at life. I said to God, take me out or show me the way out. But either way, the way I've been living stops now. Days later, I was at an event and I observed how this person who was living a really good life, successful, healthy, with a happy family, was proud of themselves, spoke with pride of their success, their family, their accomplishments. I saw how they openly liked who they were without apology or explanation, that they didn't take themselves too seriously, but that they believed in themselves, accepted themselves, honored themselves, and expected that their life was good and getting better and that things worked out for them. It was just expected that their life was good, great, even. I noted that their relationship with themselves was vastly different, the opposite, in fact, of the relationship I had with myself. They valued themselves, believed in themselves, were kind, compassionate, understanding with themselves. They treated themselves with respect, generosity. They expected their life to turn out well. They had the conditions for thriving. I saw the stark difference between these conditions for thriving versus the process of deprivation, denial, and punishment that was my process. Day and night difference. No wonder the results of our lives were so different. Their life was growing in fertile ground with water and sunshine, and I was attempting to grow mine in the dark, deprived of water and any kind of soil at all. I could suddenly see with such clarity that my approach was entirely wrong. If I was to flourish, if I was to thrive, I needed to create the conditions for thriving. I had to stop depriving myself and expecting that out of deprivation and harshness, I should somehow thrive. I saw that it was through sheer will and determination that I had survived these conditions, but I was no longer willing to just survive. I deeply, desperately desired and needed to thrive. I no longer wanted to suffer quietly alone while putting on a brave face. I no longer wanted to make do. I no longer wanted to keep pretending that my old car and my small life was enough for me. I wanted to live. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to succeed. I wanted wealth. And above all, I wanted freedom to live the life I wanted. No more shrinking, no more settling, and most especially, no more sacrificing myself. No more being mean to myself. No more pushing, dishonoring, criticizing, punishing myself. No more being my own worst enemy. I became my own ally in that moment. I realized I could not have the life, the success, joy, freedom, abundance, health I wanted unless I became my own friend, my own champion, my own supporter. All my life, I believed that if I pushed myself hard enough, I would finally become good enough, worthy enough, and lovable enough that finally someone else would love me and support me and make my life good. But it was me. I was the someone I was waiting for. I was the one who needed to give myself love and support and kindness. Me. I held the key all the way along. The key of self love, acceptance, kindness, compassion, appreciation, generosity, forgiveness, belief in myself, patience, reverence, and I have in brackets here regard or treat with deep respect. I had to look it up because the word came to me, but I obviously wasn't really sure what it meant. Then I wrote, I revere myself. I revere myself. So the breakthrough that I never want to forget is that the more that I honor, appreciate, value, and love myself, the more life, the universe, reflects this back to me. Okay, so the date of this entry is Friday, January 4th, 2008. Okay, a 1 year numerology, just like we're in right now. Okay. And this year, 2008, was also the year that I discovered life coaching and began working with a life coach in Vancouver who would later tell me, I'm actually learning a lot from you. Maybe you should become a life coach. And she put me in touch with a life coach out of North Carolina who put me in touch with none other than Oprah's life coach, Dr. Martha Beck. And when I got on a call with Martha and she described what a life coach was, I said, I've been doing that my whole life. I had no idea it had a name. And then I went to Arizona to begin my life coach training with Martha. And then in 2010, I opened my life coach practice. And some of you will even remember some of those first workshops. And I'm so grateful for you for being along the ride for all of this. So the emphasis here is that the quality of your life is determined by your relationship with yourself. So the relationship with you have with yourself is the foundation of everything. So it's your foundation of your health, your wealth, your relationships, your success, your happiness, your fulfillment, whether you thrive or you just survive, right? And I want you to know that it is law that you are meant to thrive. Okay. As a soul having a human experience, you are meant to thrive. You are meant to grow and evolve and prosper. You are meant to enjoy this three-dimensional world. So here's the takeaway. I revere myself. I revere myself, which means I regard and treat myself with deep respect. Okay. And the more that I honor, appreciate, value, and love myself, the more life, the universe reflects this back to me. Okay. Deep breath. All right.